And joining us now is Sudarshan Sukhani, and also Sudarshan will also be joined in a bit by Tahir Batra. Tahir is also there. We've got Anuj here with us. Sudarshan, what do you make of the fall in the last half an hour? Does the sharpness of the fall worry you?
No, it's not worrying, but I've been suggesting that markets are going to be choppy after that big up move. And this is just another point that proves what I've been, yes, choppiness is a fact of life, and the best trades in these circumstances have been not to do anything in the Nifty. That still remains. There is really no reason. Markets were up and they are now down 40-50 points from intraday highs. This is normal. The much bigger theme is that after a 400-point rally, markets are not expected to keep on going up. That would be a little too much. So the best trades are stay away from the Nifty, focus on individual stocks.
Okay, I just wanted to make a point that it's now at the low point of the day, Senthil, and the mid-cap index in particular is down about 1%. It's 1%.
Also, away from the markets, I want to tell you that the Sahara hearing has begun in the Supreme Court.
Okay, so we'll...
It's a habeas corpus petition against the order of the very same bench. So the Chief Justice has posted it with the very same bench that told Mr. Subrata Roy
to go to jail,
spend some time in Tihar. So now Ram Jethmalani is arguing. And sorry, I know your guys are focused on markets, but there is a world outside markets.
We'll track that. But volumes are also down, by the way, just about 13,000 crores in cash market today. Tahir, hi, good afternoon. What's your sense? Is it too late to enter the rally, or you think from a slightly medium to long-term perspective, you can still enter?
Yeah, I think, it depends on how long you make your investment horizon. So I guess clearly the run-up has been very sharp, probably many people's comfort in the very short run. And I think these kind of opportunities, when you see sharp swings, downward swings during the day, could probably be utilized as good entry points for someone who wants to build a portfolio over a period of time. So I think still the up move and the overall, confidence in the market stays. We think the market is still headed for higher levels, maybe punctuated by a few pauses like the way we've seen today, perhaps, and maybe over the next couple of days. But I think these are still, these would clearly be buying opportunities.
Would the fall in Infosys present a buying opportunity, or that got some way to go down still?
So maybe, from a pure short-term, very short-term technical standpoint, it can probably do a little more. But we believe that some part of the hit has already been taken today. Of course, FY15, the growth numbers will look probably a little weaker than what was earlier expected, but has been baked into the numbers by the street as well. So there's been a cut of around 5% in earnings already by many of the analysts, and stock has also reacted to reflect the same. So I guess in terms of valuations and FY15 growth, we are trading at about 1 PEG, because it's probably trading at about 15 odd times, and it's still reasonably good for a 15% kind of an earnings growth. And I think the one good factor is that they've at least immediately not guided for any come down in margins. They've in fact guided that margins will still remain reasonably stable despite the softer top line. So I would think that there is probably a little bit of hope still, and I think I would think any further correction by another 5% or so should be looked as some entry point within Infosys.
Sudarshan, you did say that Nifty is something that you'll stay out of right now, but what about Bank Nifty? That is where serious money has been made for last couple of days, or rather last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right. But even for the Bank Nifty, we are now again at a very strong resistance level, 12,200, 12,300. That's where the Bank Nifty is becoming choppy. It's making attempts, giving us gap ups, then going range bound, also falling down. Intraday trading in choppy and range bound markets is not generally profitable. So Bank Nifty is a buying opportunity at current levels. I don't deny that, if you have a longer time horizon. By longer, I mean probably till the end of this settlement, till end of March, not for a couple of days.
So after the run-up that we saw on the Nifty, Sudarshan, I think Infosys gave the market the perfect excuse to correct. But how is Infosys looking on the charts?
Infosys is looking much better than the Nifty. Once this decline ends, whenever it ends, tomorrow, in next week, or whenever, Infosys becomes a buying opportunity. There is no rush to buy it, but once it consolidates, we must take the trade on the long side. I would hate to sell ID stocks. These stocks can turn around and go and rally quickly. All of them have been making lifetime new highs, and that's generally bullish.
Tahir, what about Sun Pharma? This is an event which should not erode their EPS much, but is the market getting concerned about what it may do to its PE valuations? Is that the worry? Because we've seen big fall in the stock today.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that yes, as you rightly said, the financial impact probably doesn't seem to be much, but it's something which was probably not expected out of someone like Sun Pharma. So in a way, there is a bit of a market disappointment regarding this. Of course, one will have to probably see if there's any such follow-on event and any FDA related issues and any other plans. But for now, I mean, probably it's also a stock which has done very well for itself. It is reasonably well owned as well, and some of these kind of events typically do lead to reactions which are sharp. So I'm not surprised at the market reaction also, but just that given that as of now the comfort is that we're not going to see much of a financial impact, I don't really think there should be a rush to sell it out as well unless the problem escalates.
Sudarshan, okay, we will come to Sudarshan in a bit. Let's just do a quick recap of the market. It's going to be a bad day for the market, so let's start with losers. Infosys alone would have accounted for about 55 points out of Nifty's fall. So if you were to take Infosys out, the market would have still actually ended in the green. That was the impact of Infosys. Apart from that, Sun Pharma was down about 5%. Defensives in general were down today. TCS, Lupin, all these stocks were down. But add to that, metals also were down. Jindal Steel, Sesa Sterlite, Tata Steel. So this clearly is China playing out in some of these names. The market still managed to do reasonably okay, and that's because of a couple of stocks really. ONGC, which was up about 2.5%, and HDFC Bank, which was up 2%. That really helped the markets.
Yeah, I think in fact, the losses aren't worse because of HDFC Bank, HDFC, ICICI Bank, and then of course credit goes to ITC, ONGC, M&M and Reliance, as well as BPCL that have attempted to keep this market higher. In pharma, Dr. Reddy's was a standout stock because I think most other pharmaceutical stocks were lower today. Maybe Lupin was higher as well, and L&T gave some support to this market. Kotak did very well individually as a stock, but like I think as you guys say, the weightage in the Nifty is not so high, so it doesn't sort of help pull up the market substantially. BPCL though will go down as today's standout stock, 7.5% higher,
and it held on
at the end of trade, and it held on to those gains. So in fact, if you look at the Nifty first stock and last stock in terms of gainers and losers, they held on to their gains. So BPCL held on to that 7 to 8% gain despite this sudden turnaround, and Infi held on to that 8% loss despite this sudden turnaround, in that sense.
Indeed. Menika, I'll tell you what, BPCL is up almost 30% for the year.
Yeah, I know. In fact, we were talking the other day that it's one of the surprise performers of the year.
It is, and so far it was quietly moving up every day, 0.5%, 1%, 2%. For the last few days has come in its own, up about 7.5%. Sudarshan, not too many would have participated in this trade. Were you lucky enough, and what's the strategy now going forward? Sudarshan, this is
I missed the trade. Which one were you talking
BPCL, Bharat Petroleum.
No, we have been tracking BPCL and have been upbeat on it for a month now, maybe 2 months. So that's something that I'm not surprised. BPCL and HPCL are trades that have been ongoing on the plus side. They've built bases and broken out. They're just entering their bull markets. There's a lot more upside here. So this is a trade that has not been missed by traders who have heard me, and there is still a lot more potential here.
Do you also look at GAIL, Sudarshan, because that is amongst the top 10 or 12 performing stocks on the Nifty this year, up about 7 or 8%?
Yes, we do. In fact, GAIL was one in our buy list in the morning, and the reason was simply what you said. It's been in a steady up move. It's not a very high beta stock, but that doesn't matter. The fact remains that it's gaining almost regularly. It goes up, consolidates, moves up again. It's a very attractive opportunity, and luckily, even at current levels, and current levels are not so high anyway, GAIL is an investment idea. It's also a position trade.
Tahir, if you looked at the top 10 or 12 stocks for the year so far or year to date, a bunch of them are financials, which would not be very surprising. We've already discussed BPCL and GAIL, which are on that list. The other few ones that you would not have anticipated would be on this list at the beginning of the year are L&T and Ultratech Cement and ACC. What do you hold in terms of view on both industrials or capital goods like L&T and the cement sector as well?
So we have a reasonable overweight position in Larsen & Toubro mutual funds, and that's something which we have driven all along. We've basically not, I mean, as far as the PSUs go, essentially we've been within the oil and gas PSU segment. We've been reasonably positive on ONGC. But one has to remember that many of these stocks have actually had corrected significantly in the earlier part of the year, and they bounced back very sharply from those levels. So a 30%, 25% odd move in Larsen, or a 20-odd% move in the recent weeks, not even weeks actually, in ONGC and the likes of BPCL, etc. is coming off from very low bases. But we've essentially been positioned in a couple of these names. In the industrial side, we've also chosen a few of the private sector names where we see balance sheet strength. We see them being reasonably well balanced in terms of their business models between domestic and export markets, and have the ability to probably show enough of operating leverage as and when the cycle turns. So I think that's how we played the combination on the industrials and the oil and gas side in some of our portfolios.
What about cement? ACC is up 12% this month. Ultratech as well.
I think cement is something that we've missed. We've actually not been able to participate in the cement sector. So as of now, we don't have any position out there. But again, one has to keep the context in mind that many of these did correct earlier part of the year. You would recall that cement was a very it was quite an underperformer as a sector, especially given that prices were moving in the southward direction, cement prices. So it did face a lot of pressure. Quarterlies were, in fact, it was one of the sector which was reporting the most the poorest of results in terms of quarterly earnings. So I think it's been a comeback from those levels, from those price levels, and from those conditions, given that cement prices are stabilized, and especially in some parts of the country, and that has excited the market once again.
Tahir, do you look at sugar at all?
No, not really. We don't have any positioning out there either.
What about metals, Tahir? Sorry, did you want to ask a question, Anuj? No. What about metals, Tahir? Because I think if you look at, they're still considerably down year to date, even though everybody's been talking about this portfolio churning into cyclicals. So Tata Steel's down about 21%, Hindalco's down 5 to 7%. Would you say that this is a good time to enter these stocks despite the recent gains that we've seen on some of them?
Probably yes. I mean, if one believes in here the metals play is more of a global cyclical play, and therefore you have to probably extend your assessment beyond the domestic shores, and so to that extent, it's you have those considerations which will be at play. You'll have to assess as to where you strike the balance between slower.
So what would you do? What would you do with a Tata Steel or a Jindal Steel, or even a Sesa, Hindalco, NMDC?
Well, I mean, we don't have any positioning in any of the metal names. In fact, we are zero as far as the metals position go in our current portfolios. It's about essentially stock choice, in the sense that we don't think we are good at predicting or being able to assess metals as of various any type, and therefore we have decided to actually stay out of the sector. We think there are better ways to play that move through other kinds of combinations. Probably look at domestic cyclicals for that matter, like cement.
Sudarshan, I know you are a short-term trader, but slightly medium-term call here. 2 months down the line, May options are very active right now. You have the big event which will come up in May. 6500 put is at 250, 6500 call is at 350. Any strategy here for anyone who wants to make a trade on this binary event?
Well, the trade is to buy 6,500 calls and sell 7,000 calls, and there is that's a vertical spread will still make money if what market thinks will be the final outcome of the elections. If it is not, then the small loss would have to be accepted. That's a relatively safe trade as of now, because the implied volatility in May options is very high. So you have to sell options when you buy them, which is why a call spread is the right idea.
So 6,500 buy and 6,000 and 7,000
calls. So that will reduce your cost by about 140 rupees. Because as Sudarshan said, 6,500 call is a bit expensive, 350 rupees on that. So bring down your cost by about 150 rupees. If it goes in your favor and the market goes towards 700, you still make a lot of money. If it surges past 7,200, 300, you still make money, but your gain is capped because you have sold an option as well.
All right, gentlemen, we'll thank you very much for joining us. Tahir, Sudarshan, thanks very much for being on Closing Bell. We'll head into a quick break. When we come back, we've got that story on JSPL.